the HOA tyrant, and the stolen badge. I thought I'd seen it all in my 20 years as a forensic accountant, crooked CEOs, shady tax schemes, you name it. But nothing could have prepared me for the day my HOA neighbor dropped a police chief's badge on my doorstep while trying to break into my house. That's right, a gleaming badge engraved with Chief L. Carter fell right at my feet, sparking a chain of events that turned my quiet suburban life into a drama wilder than any Hollywood thriller. Let me take you back to the beginning, to a sleepy neighborhood in Oak Ridge Meadows, where the American dream collided head-on with a suburban nightmare. My wife, Emily, and I had just settled into Oak Ridge Meadows, a picture-perfect slice of suburbia with neat lawns, charming mailboxes, and houses that looked like they belonged on a magazine cover. We thought we'd found our forever homey, a place to unwind after years of city hustle. I was crunching numbers for corporate clients, while Emily had landed a job in municipal administration in nearby Lincoln County. She was vague about the details, shrugging it off as boring government paperwork whenever I asked. I didn't press her happy life, right? Besides, her new gig paid well, and she seemed content, so I let it slide. Enter Margaret Thompson, the HOA president, who stormed into our lives like a general wielding a clipboard as her weapon of choice. Margaret, a woman in her early 50s, had the kind of polished confidence that comes from years of bossing people around. Her power suits screamed authority, her hair was styled to perfection, and her heels clicked with military precision as she marched up our walkway. She introduced herself with the gravitas of someone announcing they'd just been crowned queen, her clipboard clutched like it held the nuclear codes. She wasn't just checking on new residents, she was inspecting our house like it was a health code violation waiting to happen. Margaret's visit took a bizarre turn when she tried to unlock our front door with a maintenance key. That didn't work. Through the window, I watched her fumble, her face growing redder with each failed attempt. She muttered about unauthorized lock changes and HOA regulations, her confidence crumbling as the key refused to turn. It was like watching someone try to start a car with a paper cliplets of bravado, zero results. Then, as she rummaged through her oversized purse, a silver object flew out and landed at my feet. I picked it up, expecting maybe a keychain or a trinket, but my heart stopped when I saw it. A police chief's badge, heavy and official, engraved with Chief L. Carter. This wasn't some costume prop, it screamed real authority. Margaret's face went ghost white when she saw me holding the badge. "You can't tell anyone," she shrieked, snatching it back like her life depended on it. "It's evidence for a case. I'm helping the police with a neighborhood investigation." Evidence? What kind of HOA president carries a police chief's badge like it's a coupon for free coffee? Her hands shook as she stuffed it back into her purse, glancing around like she expected SWAT teams to descend. My fraud detection instincts, honed from years of sniffing out corporate lies, were screaming. This wasn't just a nosy neighbor, this was something much darker. Margaret's panic only deepened my suspicion. She babbled about Emily's job, dismissing it as boring clerk work, with a sneer that told me she saw the world in two categories: important people like her and everyone else. She stormed off, her heels clicking like an angry woodpecker, leaving me with a sinking feeling that this was far from over. Her parting shot, "You'll see what real authority looks like," wasn't just a threat, it was a promise. I knew then that Margaret wasn't just meddling. She was dangerous. Over the next few weeks, I started digging. My forensic accounting background taught me how to follow trails, and Margaret was leaving one a mile wide. She was building a case against us, weaving a web of lies about corruption and bribery. She'd sit in her house across the street, snapping photos of our property, noting our schedules, and spinning everyday moments like a chat with a neighbor or a coffee run into sinister conspiracies. She claimed I was bribing the Lincoln County police chief, using the stolen badge as proof of my connections. Her dossier was impressive: fake transcripts, forged documents, and wild accusations that Emily's clerk job gave me influence over zoning and contracts. It was a masterclass in fraud, chilling in its precision. But Margaret's arrogance blinded her. She didn't know who she was targeting. I installed hidden security cameras around our property, documenting her every move, timestamps, photos, notes on her surveillance patterns. I wasn't just playing defense. I was building a case of my own. Then I stumbled across her history. Margaret had done this before. The Miller family, driven out 2 years ago on trumped-up safety violations. The Davis family, bankrupted by endless noise complaints backed by fake evidence. She'd perfected a formula: isolate families, smear their reputations, and weaponize paperwork until they broke. Every target was new to the neighborhood, often with a government job, easy to intimidate. She was a social predator, and she'd never lost. Then came the bombshell. Searching through Emily's closet for clues, I found a dark blue uniform tucked behind winter coats. The nameplate read Chief L. Carter. Not a deputy, not a sergeant chief, as in the head of the Lincoln County Police Department. My wife of 5 years, the woman I thought shuffled paperwork, was one of the most powerful law enforcement officials in the region. My jaw hit the floor. When Emily got home, I laid the uniform on the coffee table like evidence in a trial. "So," I said, keeping my voice steady, "it turns out you're the police chief, and our neighbor's been waving your stolen badge around, trying to frame me for bribing you. Did I miss anything?" Emily's face went from shock to resignation. She sighed, sinking into the couch. "I'm the police chief for Lincoln County," she admitted. "I took the job 6 months ago and kept it quiet to avoid attention. Chiefs attract every conspiracy nut and grudge holder in town. Plus, I'm working on sensitive corruption cases, and I didn't want our family targeted." The irony was staggering. Margaret had stolen Emily's badge, likely from her county vehicle, and was using it to frame us for the very crimes Emily spent her career fighting. She thought she was targeting a nobody clerk, but she'd picked a fight with the one person who could crush her. I made a call. We'd do nothing. Margaret's scheme was built on lies, and her arrogance would be her undoing. She'd walk into her own trap, and we'd watch. The next day, Margaret marched into the Oak Ridge Police Department, badge in hand, spinning a tale for Detective Harris about how I'd tried to bribe the Lincoln County chief. She played the concerned citizen to perfection, tears and all, claiming I'd flashed the badge to dodge HOA rules. Detective Harris ate it up, drafting a search warrant for our house based on her evidence. She'd handed him stolen property, and he thought it was a career-making case. The climax came when police cars rolled up to our house, Oak Ridge PD, Lincoln County Sheriff's Office, the works. Margaret stood across the street, clipboard in hand, dressed like she was auditioning for a role as the neighborhood savior. Detective Harris approached with the warrant, explaining they were investigating bribery involving the Lincoln County chief. I played dumb, but inside, I was buzzing with anticipation. Margaret strutted over, waving the badge like a trophy. "Detective Harris," she declared, "I'm Margaret Thompson, the HOA president who uncovered this corruption. This badge proves he tried to bribe the chief." Then Emily's county vehicle pulled into the driveway. She stepped out in full uniform, insignia gleaming, and surveyed the scene with the calm authority of someone used to commanding respect. Margaret didn't notice at first, too busy basking in her moment of triumph. But when Emily approached, asking why her house was swarming with cops, the air shifted. Detective Harris, showing her his warrant, froze when she flashed her ID. Chief L. Carter. A Lincoln County deputy, spotting her, shouted, "Chief Carter? What are you doing here?" The silence was deafening. Margaret's face cycled through confusion, recognition, then pure horror as she realized she was holding the stolen badge of the woman standing before her. "Wait," Detective Harris stammered. "You're the chief she's accusing of being bribed?" He turned to Margaret, who was now shaking. "Mrs. Thompson, you're saying Chief Carter tried to bribe herself with her own stolen badge?" Margaret's world collapsed. "That's impossible," she sputtered. "She's just a clerk. She can't be the chief." But Emily stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Mrs. Thompson, that's my badge, reported stolen weeks ago. How did you get it, and why are you using it to frame my family?" Margaret's lies unraveled in seconds. Detective Harris, red-faced, slapped handcuffs on her, reading her rights as she stammered denials. Theft of police credentials, false reports, obstruction of justice. She was done. The fallout was swift. Margaret was hauled off, her reign of terror over. Neighbors, once swayed by her lies, apologized profusely, admitting they'd been duped. The local news ran the story. HOA president arrested for framing police chief's family with stolen badge. Investigations revealed Margaret's history of targeting families like the Millers and Devises, using forged documents and intimidation. Her husband, Robert, turned state's witness, exposing her playbook and filing for divorce. The HOA ousted her, electing a new board that actually cared about the community. A month later, Margaret sat in jail, facing felony charges that could lock her up for decades. Oak Ridge Meadows transformed into the neighborly haven we'd hoped for, free from her toxic grip. Justice wasn't just served, it was delivered with the poetic irony of a bully undone by her own stolen evidence. Emily and I rebuilt our lives, stronger for it, while Margaret learned the hard way: never underestimate your target. What do you think about this tale of suburban vengeance? Have you ever faced a bully like Margaret, using power to intimidate? Should victims always fight back, or is letting justice run its course the better path? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's spark a debate about standing up to bullies and the cost of unchecked power. Your voice matters, so share your take.